Hey, young man.
What?
I see that you look rather bored right now.
Who are you? Why are you here?
Me? I'm only here to recommend you peak fiction. And that peak fiction's name is One Piece.
Oh, that was some real peak fiction. Wait, another video about anime? What do you mean by that? The fact that I made a Dragon Ball video last week? Or the fact that I made a 40-minute anime review in general? Well, either way, over the past year and some, I became more invested in One Piece. I say that as if it's some sort of stock or something. But One Piece has many things I could talk about, and I would love to make more than one video about it. However, I'm going to restrain from that, and instead, I'm going to say why you should also be into One Piece. I want to give a full review one day, and it would either be when the series ends, or when I feel like it. That will be a while from now.
Anyone who's afraid of spoilers, don't worry. I won't have huge spoilers, but maybe some minor ones depending on how you see it. One Piece is a series written and illustrated by Eiichiro Oda. It's a story about pirates which you don't really see a lot of. It started as a manga on July 27, 1997. It does have a prototype called Romance Dawn, which you would see the name a lot through the series in some way. I mean, the first volume was called One Piece Romance Dawn. This prototype isn't important unless you really are interested in the series, but many elements from the prototype does exist in the official series. One Piece ended up getting an anime on October 20th, 1999. It doesn't really matter how you consume One Piece content, whether it's the anime or the manga, you're more or less getting the same story. Sure, there are differences between the two, but there aren't differences that completely break the series. Unless you're watching the anime's filler episodes. Those don't play by the rules. Dang, this history segment took a lot longer than I wanted for just 2 dates. I want to share an anecdote with you. This is the story of how I ended up enjoying One Piece. It all started when I was watching an anime called Bakuman.
Don't get that confused with Bakugan.
But a quick rundown on what the story is about. It's a story about two boys who formed a team to make manga. It goes over the hardships that come when making manga and trying to make it a long-term thing. It all depends on if people are reading it, because if they aren't, they cut the series short. So when I saw this, I was like, wait, maybe there really is a reason why One Piece is super long. I looked at the date the manga started and was like,
whoa.
I'm into wacky yet simple stories. So while I was watching One Piece, I became attached pretty quickly. And when I say quickly, I mean by 52 episodes I started enjoying it. Probably before that, but by the point of episode 52, that's where I stopped considering dropping the show and just went along with the journey. And I would say that was probably one of the best decisions I've made. Because now is probably the best time to be a One Piece fan, even though this anecdote took place over a year ago now. I understand that this series can be intimidating to anyone who hasn't started yet. By the time I'm writing this script, the manga is at chapter 1074 and the anime is at episode 1051. A whole lot of episodes and chapters, right? However, if I were to tell you that this is peak fiction, would you change your mind?
I'm just kidding.
The way I see it, this many episodes and chapters just means that there's so much content to enjoy. Keep in mind that an ending has been confirmed multiple times, and even recently, the manga announced that it's in its final saga. So there are two things to keep in mind. If you start now, you will still have enough time to enjoy all the hype before it becomes a spoiler. And there is a lot of content to enjoy. Let me focus on the claim peak fiction really quick. I know it's all a joke and stuff, but one day I decided to think about it. I was like, wait, One Piece is that one fantasy I've wanted all my life. I always had an idea of how cool it would be if there was a story where literally all types of fantasy existed. And when you get down to it, One Piece is the closest thing that will ever have that. All the fairy tales that we've heard, all the fantasy creatures that we get told about, a bunch of different lands that we wish to exist, a countless amount of powers that gets limited by how many powers you can imagine, it's all here.
Isn't that insane?
Granted, not all parts of the story are amazing as each other, but every arc, every adventure that happens, it all has its charm to it. In terms of the anime, the way I see it, this can be considered an anime, but I feel like it has that Dragon Ball effect. The art style is so different to what many different series try that I think it falls in a category of its own. Like the way the anime looked in earlier episodes was more like a picture book than anything. I really like that look, to be honest. Now it's changed, with every episode feeling more like a movie than anything. Like the anime is actually going all out with how it's structured, but the manga always has that childlike look. And that may sound bad, but I think it fits perfectly. The art style fits with every character design. You can have the most manly looking character and the most goofy looking character in the same story, and both of them would look absolutely amazing. You can even have a bit of both in one character. Just like the story, the art style has a sense of freedom to it. You know something is good when it can achieve that status of synergy. One of the most fun things about following One Piece is predicting what will happen next. If you only watch the anime, I would say that you're missing out on about 2 years worth of content. Yep, that's how behind the anime is. But if you're reading the manga every week or so, it gets so exciting to predict what's about to happen next. Currently, the story is at its craziest point, and it will most likely get crazier. But the amount of theories just to predict what we will end up knowing in about a week time is just exciting. Everyone has their own thoughts on where the story will go, how they want it to go, what the end of the story will look like, etc. The thing is, we won't even know what the end of the story will look like for some couple of years. So everyone will keep trying to predict what will happen next. That's why I'm saying now is the best time to consume One Piece. If you don't do that now, you will miss out on one of the things that make this series enjoyable to experience. And the later you do it, the more time you miss out on this. Bear in mind, it's impossible to watch the entirety of One Piece and understand it in like a week.
Maybe. I've never tried it.
In terms of its legacy, this will be a story known by many for years to come. Now that it's even getting a Netflix adaptation, more people can view it. I don't know how well this adaptation will end up being, but who knows, maybe it will be good. But this story has been going on for over 20 years for a reason. It is loved by many for a reason. It's super anticipated and has people taking it seriously for a reason, because it's just that good. There is so much content around One Piece alone. Whether it's the main series, the filler episodes from the anime, the countless amount of OVAs, the plethora of movies, the vast amount of games, or the representation from a bunch of places, this is truly a legendary series. Then again, maybe you'll end up disliking it, and that's okay too. After all, not every story can fit everyone's needs. But at least try it before saying you don't like it.
I'll be honest, I was one of the people who didn't want to watch One Piece because of how long it is. I never really hated it before watching it, but I can't say I respected it. But after watching it, it became one of my top 2 favorite Japanese series of all time. I can't really choose between Dragon Ball and One Piece. I've watched countless shonen anime like Bleach, Naruto, My Hero, and a bunch more, but One Piece was the only one to get me as invested in it as Dragon Ball. I really liked Dragon Ball if it wasn't obvious. I didn't really have any expectations when I watched it the first time, but that ended up making it enjoyable for me. I would love many people who haven't watched or read One Piece to give it a try. If you like it, cool. If you didn't, then what's wrong with you? Just kidding.